Hey.
74. I thought he might have went with, and then chaos ensued.
Yeah, chaos. Well, that's
It's either hey or, I mean, which is appropriate for this episode, but maybe I blew my load a little early. You should probably use that a little later. You would have, yeah.
I feel like the blowing your load, you can tell from that kind of reference what kind kind of movie we saw last night.
And there's a lot of blowing of loads in this movie.
Yes.
One of my favorite scenes is probably
It was an extremely brotastic film. And if you're talking about the scene where two guys threaten back and forth, different ways of blowing one's load, that was probably my favorite scene too.
Yeah. I think that's pretty unanimous.
So if we've already turned you off with that kind of talk, you really don't want to stick around.
And you're not listening to Movie Schmovie if you didn't like that.
Right.
Wrong podcast.
That's how we've decided. Market research indicates that the best way to start your show is to tell people not to listen to your show.
Right.
And then they're intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
reel
am I
them in.
listening to the right thing?
Right.
Right.
But
Especially,
yeah, this is Movie Schmovie. I was kidding.
Movie Schmovie,
you know,
right.
if you made that far, you should know for real. This is
you should
Movie
know.
Schmovie.
Either that or you're a dick face.
That was Ronald. I'm Steve.
I'm John.
And that's John right there. And this is episode 74.
Okay.
This is going to be a fun one because this is a movie that we've all been, I think, looking forward to.
Absolutely.
We're going to be talking about This Is the End. Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg's new balls of the wall comedy.
Is this the first one they've directed together?
I believe so. Yeah, now they've like co-wrote other stuff together.
Like Superbad and 50-50?
Exactly.
And did Evan Goldberg direct 50-50, or am I wrong about that?
No, that was directed by the guy that did Warm Bodies.
I do my research.
Yes,
Warm
you did.
Bodies.
I forget his name as
that's
well.
right.
But it is not the guy.
It was something.
That's exactly what it is. something. And while I'm trying to stall, it's Jonathan Levine.
Jonathan Levine.
Yeah, so not Evan Goldberg.
It was months.
Still sounds like a Jewish
months
guy.
ago that we spent an entire episode talking about his filmmaking. So how could I possibly be expected to remember that?
And seeing recently Seth Rogen on the Daily Show, he was like talking about how him and Evan Goldberg have been like best friends since like they were kids, which is I think pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think they like met in like bar mitzvah class, I think he said, which is kind of fun. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see these guys who have obviously worked on a lot of movies together finally bring one that they've co-directed, seen through, and Seth stars in with basically every other comedian, funny guy that's been in any movie, any degree of separation you can find between them. Seth Rogen, Nick, help me out. I didn't want to take
James
Franco,
Franco.
Craig
Robinson.
Robinson,
Danny
Jonah
McBride.
Hill.
Emma
And the
These
small
Ansari,
roles.
and a lot of really miscellaneous. If you look in the background, there's a lot of freaks and geeks people there.
Yeah, Martin Starr.
Martin Starr,
Yeah, Michael Cera, Jason Segel, David Krumholtz, Paul
Minnie
Rudd.
Kaling.
Yeah.
Minnie Kaling. Yeah, I mean, pretty much anybody that's been in Freaks and Geeks, Undeclared, what else? Forgetting
Any of the Apatow family.
Any of those.
Oh yeah, Kevin Hart was in it.
Yeah, Kevin Hart.
40-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
McLovin is in it.
McLovin.
Anyway,
Let's run all the cameos right up top.
You know these people from the commercials that you've seen. There are some that are saved for the movie that I think are really awesome, which we may or may not discuss later. But basically, this is a apocalyptic end of the world movie. You know, these characters are playing versions of themselves or themselves in a situation where Seth Rogen, basically Jay Baruchel comes into L.A., staying with him. They go to James Franco's new housewarming party. And in the words of Ronald James, what happens?
Chaos ensues.
There it is. Mm-hmm. We should have a little like sound that you cue.
Like we definitely need that.
Like a car crashing, somebody screaming.
Yeah,
one of those
thunderclap.
That weird, uncomfortable trumpet that they use sometimes, like. Or also
the sound from War of the Worlds, like the boom.
That's a weird sound.
I love that sound.
All the new trailers that I see indicate that dubstep is the scariest music.
Yes.
Dropping the bass.
Did you see the trailer for
It's a White House Now where they're attacking the White House with dubstep.
yeah.
White House Now. Or is it White House Now?
I love how you talked right through it.
Well, yeah, no,
Is
that
that a
one, and then in Elysium, it's like they're using dubstep to attack the future. So it's all over the place.
Is White House Down a comedy? I
think it's a buddy film. I mean, I think that it's gonna have
that Independence Day action, blow them up.
It's Jamie Foxx doing playing the nerdy guy opposite Channing Tatum.
He is the worst
playing the role that
president.
Jamie Foxx would have
He's
played.
the worst president ever. Also,
I think that,
he's the worst.
His foreign policy is horrible.
He's fucking awful.
Give a brother a chance, Ronald.
It's
He
so
hasn't even, but I like the guy with the glasses. That gets me. The first time I saw that,
Yeah, that scene was really, really funny.
But yeah, This Is the End is the movie that we're actually talking about.
Yep.
And like I mentioned earlier, it's a movie that they've been doing a really interesting and I think incredible job of marketing this movie in terms of how much access the cast has given of themselves to the production and the marketing and publicity for it. I mean, you're talking about a lot of big stars I would say, in this movie. An Oscar-nominated star, Mr. Jonah Hill.
Yeah, which they bring up in the movie.
Yeah, which they play a lot with. But, I mean, there's stuff all over Facebook, Twitter. I mean, you know, special scenes that they shot that are only being released through a lot of these social media channels, like things on Vine. And it's just really cool how they've been, basically, you can tell that they were friends who helped make this movie, and they're like, whatever you need from me, I'm there. And I think this movie's going to have a huge opening. I really do. Even opening against
I think so too.
Man of Steel.
Well, I think there was at the screening, there was like a really palpable sense of people kind of being jazzed to see this movie.
Absolutely.
I had only seen, there was like a 2-minute clip from the middle of the movie when Danny McBride's character shows up.
Right.
That they released online months ago. And that's all I had seen. And so I went into it pretty unspoiled. It was too comedic to be taken seriously as like a real kind of thrilling adventure story.
Sure.
But it towed that line pretty well. And there were definitely exciting moments and scary moments and some people you feel real sorry for, and
some people not so much.
But it was, you know, the fact that it was not just a goof on a movie about the end of the world, but that it actually kind of tried to be a sort of, you know, a movie with stakes. I thought that was kind of unexpected. And it was great that it was hitting me like I had not been spoiled for any of those gags. So.
Yeah. I just think it's cool how self-deprecating all the performances were. And then when you're talking about like what John just referenced is like how it kind of it tries to have enough serious through line, like where you really feel like you're on this adventure, end of the world thing. Like, how is this going to end? Which I think was a really cool mix, something that really hasn't been. I don't know that it hasn't been done before, but I don't think it's been done as successfully as I felt like this movie was. Where
people talk a lot about Ghostbusters, being this kind of magic mix that nobody else has been able to nail. And I won't say this is quite that, or if it's even quite the same thing as that, because one thing is Ghostbusters is a family movie; it's PG.
Sure,
this movie would have to. I mean, this movie you could take this story. There's a PG or PG-13 version of this movie that could exist, and I
shave it down.
And I might not even. I mean, the dick humor and all that stuff. I might say that's got a few too many of that type of gag in it, but I can't tell you which particular one to cut because most of them are funny, and these are funny actors, and they do that thing pretty well, you know. And like Danny McBride, there's really no way to make him PG. You'd have to tone down what's really fun about his character.
Superbad became that for a lot of people. Like it became that sort of movie, the kind of go-to movie that you can watch a million times with your friends and stuff like that. I think one of the interesting things about it that I was thinking about as I was watching it was movies like Ghostbusters are incredible. Humor executed well is a very rare thing. I think it's really easy to kind of go into that like Naked Gun territory when it comes to humor.
Definitely.
And I think that Seth Rogen is really, really good at avoiding the corniness of that sort of line. And I think that's what the vulgarity has to do with. Like, I think that when it comes to a lot of sort of slapsticky stuff, the gross stuff kind of separates it. It makes it more like, okay, there's a dick involved, there's butt licking and stuff like that. It's ridiculous, but it really creates. And if it's executed well,
and these are small moments in the film that Ronald is talking about. These aren't even like pivotal moments.
Huge moments. If you've watched something like Scary Movie and seen that humor done wrong, then you know that it can be done right through somebody like Seth Rogen. So it's a huge compliment if you can combine those things and do it so well, especially since there's so many bad comedies. Comedies, I use that term super loosely, but it was done well. I don't think I've ever seen a movie with so many comedians in it that was so funny. And
I think it was pretty balanced too. I think everybody kind of got, like you kind of see some of them. I go back to some of the marketing, and I think it's kind of balanced in saying that, this is one of the first, if not beyond, like, I think Tyler Perry maybe produced a movie that he was in, that Craig Robinson actually is not just like a background guy. Like he is pretty much on an equal level as the other 4 or 5, comedic leads in this movie, and I thought he was hilarious.
He was.
And he's never turned in like a better performance either. I
Agreed.
found him on The Office sometimes that he was great for the cutaway kind of quick lines. But once they kind of tried to fill him out as a character, it didn't seem like he really had the chops to play some of the more emotional shifts. And I've seen him pop up in movies and thought, he's good but not great as an actor. He's funny.
Yeah.
And in this movie, even he makes a comment that he's lovable, and I feel like that's he is definitely a lovable guy.
That's the allowance.
But he played. There was substance to the character that he was playing in this that was interesting. It was like he still kind of feels like he's a guy who just is charming, and so he acts like himself on camera. Yeah. But this was the most I've ever bought him in terms of some of the. I mean, again, there's certain things that these characters are up against that are horrifying and funny at the same time. And he did a pretty good job of playing that. It was a guy who's being scared, but he's funny to watch being scared,
Sure, absolutely.
I've only seen him in one more movie where I felt like he was that incredible.
What was that?
Miss November, where he played the character
I haven't seen
Horse Dick .mpeg. Funniest shit. Miss November.
Oh, that's the guys that like the whitest kids in the room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Horse
that.
Dick .mpeg. That was another really good character that he played. But this is the most complete role that I've seen him in. And Franco, man, Franco was incredible.
James Franco was great. I was talking to a friend of mine today about it, and I was just saying, like, I mean, I fucking love James Franco. I love him. I love that.
P.S. Miss March, by the way, not Miss November. Sorry.
I love that he's kind of pretentious and that he dabbles in all these different things.
They made fun of that
I love that he works on a soap opera. Yeah. But I mean, in real life, I love who he is.
He goes to college randomly.
And just what people, but people don't like that about him. And I just love that it's like, I get it. I get that he's a guy who can pretty much do whatever he wants. And why not then do whatever you want,
Yeah.
But the funniest unspoken gag in the movie is just there's a moment where they're in like his art studio and they don't even really comment on it. But like there's a room where these two characters. It's when Jay Baruchel and Craig Robinson. It's great to talk about a movie and not have to remember the character name.
Yeah,
just say whoever it was, Jay Baruchel and Craig Robinson. When they're talking about like the real stakes that they're up against, the room that they're in is clearly like James Franco's home studio, and it's just festooned with all of his like paintings and stuff, and they're these arty abstract paintings. But it's just funny. It's like they didn't even have to comment on it. You just know that he's been in there painting all the time. And I think it even said in the credits when it was listing like whose artwork was donated for the movie, James Franco was thanked.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that had to be either paintings he actually just did or paintings he did for the movie. But either way, like
it's hilarious.
He manages to, and all those guys manage to like poke fun at their persona and yet maintain the integrity of their persona at the same time. Like everybody gets to be the butt of a few jokes as well as the teller of a few jokes.
Yeah. It was the cool part about it was the versions of themselves were kind of exaggerated, but not
instantly recognizable as
not
that.
Not so exaggerated that it feels like uncomfortable. Like this is forced.
The opening 10 or 15 minutes are almost naturalistic.
Yeah.
Like there's some fun exaggerated stuff when the two buddies hook up, but it's like the way the two buddies are hanging out, like Jay Baruchel's back in town. You don't really, the movie gradually sketches out the details, but they haven't hung out for a while, he and Seth Rogen, and they're hanging out. And it's one of those times, and I think we may have all been in this situation where you are visiting a friend and you want to hang out with your friend, but they want to go do something with their friends. And so Seth Rogen takes Jay Baruchel to this party. We've all been probably on both sides of that.
Totally.
That when we do finally, there's a moment between Craig Robinson and Aziz Ansari that is so over the top, and there's like there's a hand that gets broken off. I mean, there's all this crazy shit that happens. At that moment, it became like a Monty Python sketch that it sort of broke the mold of the reality it was setting up. Like I think there were a few gags that if they just hadn't put them in there, the movie would have almost maintained the structural integrity, and it would have never dipped into that Naked Gun style world. But that was like one of the only moments that felt like that. That felt like this isn't even physically something that would happen,
Yeah.
But and also it was a little too bloodthirsty. Like when I thought about it later, I was like, oh man, I feel sorry for that one guy who fell into the hole. But I mean
everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. That part was pretty funny. Like a lot of actors you see in the background that you wonder if they're going to have much of a role, and then you go, nope.
No, man.
But like once I realized, okay, it's going to be a funny movie, and it's going to be more judged based on the virtue of how long since you laughed, and I probably laughed every minute or two. So
it was good. It was really good. I thought that it sometimes Danny McBride can be too much. I think that.
Well, this movie was all about that, though. I mean, his role in this was him being too much from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you, but I actually liked him in this.
Yeah, it's
even in that confessional when like James Franco was saying that that like McBride is just like I don't know if I like him anymore. Like
right, he's like in a background. I thought
like he can't turn it off, but he's like literally right behind him.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly I was dying laughing the whole time. I was like up in my seat. I don't know, like you kind of you know what you're expecting from a lot of these comedians, and I mean, me personally, I'd say I look for it. When I know that, I mean, these are some of my favorite like these guys are in movies that I say I will almost always go see. Even if I end up not liking it, I will still go see their next one usually. I mean, especially especially like Danny McBride. I do really like Jonah Hill. I mean, and
I do too.
Even though he's the smaller of the group, I'm really a big fan of Jay Baruchel, who most people don't even know.
Well, I love him for How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, honestly, How to Train Your Dragon is money.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And also a smaller comedy that he did a couple years ago.
He'll always be Hiccup to me.
With Alice Eve was she's out of my league or she's out of your league.
That was such a good movie.
Surprisingly hilarious. T.J. Miller's in it. Really funny movie.
T.J. Miller is super underrated.
I was worried he's not in it. I thought he might pop up in this. And
he also does a voice in How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, I just think that like it was really nice to actually have expectations of the kind of comedy that each of those characters bring to their movies in the movie world, and then to see them playing that character and to see that comedy, you know what I mean? Like as that's who they are in those moments. I mean, I thought that was pretty meta or like whatever, kind of fun to see. And I think it's probably one of the funnier movies I've seen in a long time.
It hits those beats well.
What do you think about the religious theme?
I told a buddy of mine on the phone that it's like it was an oddly Christian film. I mean,
it was,
but
especially
I don't know what I make of that.
Normally devoid of like stuff like that, and when God comes up, it's normally made fun of. But this was done in a way that.
Well, I mean, like let's go ahead now and. If it sounds like we're about to dip into some semi-spoilery territory. So I think we're all recommending this film. I think we're saying this is a go-ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
See it.
See it,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, you probably know whether you want to see this movie already based on whether you like these guys. And I do say these guys. There may be 1.5 roles for women in this movie. But... it's possible that you don't know if you like these.
And the threat of rape just scares them right away.
Right, yeah. Well, that scene was funny. There's another bit later. Really... Well, yes. Let's get into rape in just a minute here. But
the meat of this show.
Yeah, right. But I would say even if you are on the fence about these actors, you might be surprised at how much of a real movie this is. That it actually tries to tell a real story. Like that would be the big thing that I kept being impressed by. So now we can. It's a free for all. Now talk. So, the religious overtones.
Yeah,
not overtones, just religious story. I mean, it basically confirms the sort of, Christian idea of the. I mean, even though it does it in a cartoonish way, but it really confirms the idea of it's Judgment Day. All the really virtuous people are zapped up into heaven, and then the people that are left are kind of fighting it out.
Yeah.
And so our characters are all sort of in that purgatory zone of being people that have a chance to fight their way out. And whether or not they can redeem themselves really becomes a major plot point.
Yeah.
And they end up in an actual literal, like, a 10-year-old's idea of what heaven would be like, essentially, which is like funny. But so I would say they kind of seem to be poking fun at that religious aspect, even as they are not being pointlessly offensive.
That's all. That's it. Yeah. They embrace it just to kind of poke at it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is.
I can see how that would make a lot of people uncomfortable though. Like it's an interesting thing. Like if you have a good sense of humor, I don't know what good means. If you have a open sense of humor, you'll find that it's a pretty funny thing. Because religion in general is a very weird thing. You're kind of guessing about something that nobody's made it back to talk about. So to see it on screen in the way that it's presented is a pretty funny thing.
I haven't read any reference to them talking about that aspect of it, but I would wonder if their attitude would be that this is just like, if you're talking about end of the world scenarios, this is like one that's out there that's kind of in the pop culture as much as it is part of a religious idea.
Well, that's kind of what makes it unique. I've never seen an end of the world movie that revolves around a concept like that. It's normally like things are fucking falling apart, but it's not like
the literal rapture.
And seeing it through.
Yeah.
Like that's our ending.
Seeing
it to the end, which I thought was really cool. Like I was like, are they going to actually go for, or is there going to be some like weird twist of something weird happening? Like they were like shooting some fucking movie or something like that this whole time. I was like,
well, at the very end when they're in heaven and Jay Baruchel gets a wish, I thought, what if he unwishes the whole thing. Which
we were talking about that.
I briefly was like, I hope they don't do that, because I always hate when the person thinks they live next door to a killer but they don't. You know, I hate those types of movies. So like, I
wish that Jonah Hill wasn't dead. I thought that was. I don't know why I thought that.
I thought he was going to wish James Franco up into heaven, but I do sort of like.
And then
the
he
fact
would become God for sacrificing his wish to.
I do sort
reunite
of.
Seth and James.
I do like that all those characters that did die sort of horribly, they're sort of left dead, because it gives the movie the kind of, you were talking before about these guys playing around with their image, like that was one of the things that was sort of ballsy about it. James Franco's arc, like your heart does sink when he basically almost redeems himself and almost gets sucked up into heaven, but when he's getting sucked up into the beam of light, he has to gloat, and he's flipping off Danny McBride and telling him to suck his dick, and so he falls down, and
and then he gets eaten.
The look of disappointment on his face when he hits the ground,
priceless.
Like, you feel sorry for him, but it's a great moment. I mean, it may have been one of the, literally may have been one of the best, like, beginning to end performances I've seen James Franco get. Like, he was funny and great and totally seemed to know what he was doing. And now that we can refer to it in a spoilery fashion, the scene where he and Danny McBride are threatening back and forth about coming everywhere.
When he called him a pilgrim, I just lost it. Yeah. Jerking off like a pilgrim, I just lost it.
It was funny because it just kept escalating. It wasn't like a fake. It didn't seem like a fake argument. It seemed like a real intense, like, fuck you. Yeah. You're not going to fucking jerk up.
We've known, like, those two characters were at odds. So we've seen it bubbling over. And, like, there are moments where you think, like, one of them's going to kill the other one. And so, definitely that moment felt like the culmination of something. It felt like an ejaculation of hatred. But also, I just love that when you're watching that moment, you're laughing. It's two guys threatening to jizz everywhere. And you think to yourself, like, normally you would be like, how can you possibly have that moment in a movie? That's too far. But the way they arrive at it is so tied to the situation.
Yeah,
that they could have been fighting about anything. That just happened to be
and
the
it
shape
just went
it
there.
took.
Yeah. And you know that scene was like on paper was like Danny and James fight about jerking off.
Oh, I was wondering how much of that is written down.
And it's like, guys, just go. Yeah. And it's like they just let it air out, and it just goes on and on, and it doesn't get any worse. It just gets better and just escalates.
I like when Danny just starts pointing at the walls.
And they're just talking over one another, and he's like he's just basically throwing jizz all over the walls as James is telling him he doesn't know how to properly jerk off. And, oh God, that's like the scene I would have to go back and watch.
It was so
over and over again.
So funny.
And that's what I think makes it unique too in a way, because like you do have like the comedies. I mean, any comedy that you say is one of your favorites. I don't know if this is one of my favorites, but it's probably my favorite comedy I've seen this year, if not, last couple years.
Definitely the most consistently I've laughed in a theater for a while. I might be forgetting something, but it seems like for a long time.
I can put it in that conversation. But I mean, there's scenes that you like quote from movies, and like some of them you can quote them like out to anybody. Mm-hmm. But that's the funny thing about this movie is that like some of the scenes that you want to talk about are so inappropriate, and you're just like, this is absolutely an R-rated film, and I will talk about it with my friends that are okay with me sounding like a pervert or a jerk, the
James Franco sucking dick one is one of my favorite lines.
Well, that was in the clip.
That's in the clip.
I love that. That's so funny. Danny McBride's face, like,
well, that scene where he basically takes all of them apart.
Like
that moment.
That's our intro. Like that's where he meets up with the guys and like makes it known that he was at the party the whole
time. After
this
beautiful sequence of him cooking breakfast and like using up all their stuff.
He did that twice actually. Yeah. He tore them apart 2 times.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and then when he just started shitting on called James Franco a self-righteous something.
Yeah. When he was wearing his tux and they were kicking him out of the house.
The part where so there's a part
really you might think
we're gonna go through I can feel it coming that we're gonna sit here and just talk about.
Okay,
I can see
I'm trying to.
We are being.
You're talking about the gun.
The gun part was.
I know
the tension in that part was actually legitimate because you kept thinking one of these characters is going to die this way, and in fact, had it not been a stunt gun, they all would have died, and Danny McBride would have murdered.
He would have murdered all of them in one.
And the best part is that the whole time James Franco, when they're taking the inventory, he's like showing off the guns, like this is real, 6 bullets, real, and he's like just like selling it, and it's like from Flyboys, a very well known James Franco film, obviously.
Right.
And the best part, and for me, of that scene when he shoots them all, like 10 seconds later, if you watch it again, I don't know if you saw it, but Jay Baruchel's face, it hits him again that he just got shot, but it was like a false bullet. They're all talking about like how much of an asshole Danny is, and if you see him in the background, he literally just goes like he just has like a second wave of fear.
Did you notice that they reacted as if they gotten shot?
Yeah.
Which I thought was also very funny. Yeah. So you like brace yourself to die. You're like, ugh. that scene was hilarious.
The more it's, I mean,
I was just gonna say that, like,
I love this movie.
Yeah,
as much as I would think
hilarious.
I wouldn't want to like this type of movie, just because you get fatigued. The same actors keep doing the same roles, and like a lot of my favorite comedic actors are guilty of kind of oversaturating. Like Will Ferrell played the same character maybe too many times, even though I think he's funny. I don't get excited to see that he's in a movie anymore, And all these young guys have that kind of thing going on, where it's like there's still certain movies that you'll always love him in, but you just don't know if this is going to be one of those. And it's like it really might be just about the best and the funniest all of these guys have been in one movie. It's got this emotional through line that reminds me of a movie like Pineapple Express or Superbad, where you sort of, what makes it worthwhile is that you really do care about the friendship of these characters. They did downplay, none of the characters had like wives or kids or girlfriends,
anything else.
or anything. And I heard in an interview where Seth Rogen said that, even specifically with James Franco's character, his brother, is it Dave Franco, who's a funny actor, and we talked about him. He was in Warm Bodies as well. They were going to have him in the party scene.
Right.
And then they decided not to, because they basically said that anyone who's at that party, except for our main guys, gets killed, and that they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to have to dramatically deal with James Franco mourning his brother, nor did they want to have a movie where James Franco doesn't give a shit that his brother got killed. Yeah. So like they decided not to have those ties. So all of these guys are kind of, all the characters are poised at a sort of state of arrested development. These are all sort of man children who don't really have, like roots put down. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing because it definitely feels like, I mean, I doubt that Seth Rogen, he gets too much done. I doubt that he sits around smoking that much weed in his everyday life, but it's possible. It's possible when Jay Baruchel comes to town.
I think it's fairly possible. I think he's heavy duty weed smoker. I think that it's. I was way more entertained than I ever expected, and I think that when it comes to comedies, I'm really hard to please. Particularly when it comes to things, especially that Seth Rogen's been in, because I'm kind of on the sick of him sort of end. But I'm open.
Well, I probably haven't seen the last 5 movies he's done.
Right. So like, if there's something he's in there, I feel like he's gonna do well in, I'm gonna watch it. And he did it. He did it. James Franco, Craig Robinson, Jay did it amazingly. It's just the perfect balance. All their characters were different enough from each other that when they kind of went head to head at each other and argued, it didn't feel like one person wrote this. It didn't feel like, the same character was talking to the same character. That's one of the problems that I think I have with some comedies. It feels like, it's one gross person talking to a less gross person that's almost the exact same person, and it just feels like that all the time.
Or like people, every character kind of had their angle and their agenda. How did you guys feel about and maybe this is just on my brain, and maybe I got the PC filter put on my brain these days, but how did you feel about the sort of weird nighttime demonic rape of Jonah Hill being played so that the joke is sort of him acting sad and scared and hurt the next day? Jokes like that always make me feel a little uncomfortable. Like I was like, I don't want to laugh at the victim of, even if it's as silly as that. I do feel like it's very suggested that he is raped horribly by a demon. Well, and in the next scene we see, now it quickly becomes apparent that he's possessed, and so it kind of changes that. But that immediate moment when that audience erupted with laughter, I was like, are we laughing at a victim? I mean, even though it's in a silly, crazy world, but are we laughing at a victim of rape?
I think it's the balance, because he knocked Jay down to kill him. Even in it out, it's like he almost knocked Seth Rogen's best friend down into the pit in the beginning, like kind of supposedly.
And he also, right before that, was praying for God to kill him.
That makes me laugh. I don't know what
that
it is about praying for people to get hurt. That makes me laugh so, because it's such a weird thing. Like all the things to ask for somebody to get hurt is.
Yeah, what does he say about him? That he's like, honestly, like the worst person you've ever created.
So funny.
So, but I mean, I agree with that they give you a reason to think that he deserves something. But I guess what I'm saying is, in that moment, it feels like, I don't know. That might have been the one dick joke too many for me. Like, even though it was funny when that silhouette, I don't know. I'm torn. You guys didn't get squeamish at that at all?
Okay. I know what you mean.
I was laughing.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, but it was an uncomfortable moment.
I thought it was funny earlier. They're talking about being concerned about Emma.
Yeah, no, that part was funny.
Watson.
Yeah.
Being raped and it coming off to her like they were talking about raping her. And then in the end, it's one of them that ends up being raped, and that's
Yeah.
the butt. That's the butt of the joke. You know what I mean? It's just
Ooh.
like, oh, see what I did there.
No, but I liked that scene because that was funny and it grew out of a comic misunderstanding.
Absolutely.
But
It did escalated.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think maybe that's what I'm saying is that was proof of like what I could like one side of the coin that was a funny rape joke. The other side of the coin was a rape joke that I thought was not like one step
So there
too
is
far.
a meter for the.
Well,
rape
you know,
joke,
people
John.
talk about this. People say that basically jokes that disenfranchise the victim are the ones that rub you the wrong way typically, whereas jokes that disenfranchise the jokes that are on the sort of aggressor.
Sure.
And the reason I thought that joke with Emma Watson worked was that the joke was on these guys who it's almost like they really should have known better than to even. You know, like and what's funny is everybody starts off. Was it Jay Baruchel that was worried about it? Everybody starts off saying to him like, "Why are you even bringing that up?" You know, and then they all just start talking about it so loud. But it's like the possibility they're worried that she might feel vulnerable amongst all these guys. She's the only girl, and it turns into a situation where she becomes extremely uncomfortable. But yeah, no, that was, and she may have been the one. I mean, I really can't think of outside Mindy Kaling has like a funny line early on, but I can't remember. Were there other female characters even?
No.
Rihanna.
Oh yeah, Rihanna.
She had a couple lines.
That's really.
Yeah.
And the girls blowing Michael Cera in the bathroom and eating his ass out.
Yeah. Which was hilarious.
Very well cast, I must say.
They were beautiful.
Yeah.
They were beautiful.
And it was funny to see him basically do a Neil Patrick Harris turn essentially in this. But I mean,
Totally.
but it was funnier. Whereas Neil Patrick Harris, when and we'll get into that in just a second here, other actors who played themselves. But Neil Patrick Harris is a recent example of that. And I'm going to say his name again, Neil Patrick Harris. Just because I've already said it 3 times.
Actually,
Why not go for
Ron
4?
and I go by NP8. We know him.
NPH, you know him personally. You know him AFK.
Yeah.
He sort of set that template of playing him, you know, playing against type and playing an awful version. I mean, maybe he's definitely not the first actor to do that, but that seems to be the theme. When you show up as yourself, you have to make yourself look like an asshole to prove that you're in on the joke. And then I thought Michael Cera in this, it was almost like a different flavor on that because, like with Neil Patrick Harris, the joke is sort of like everybody thinks he seems like such a nice man, you know? Whereas with Michael Cera, it's almost a joke for the benefit. Like if you like Michael Cera, then you get to go, oh, he's funny in this.
Yeah.
And if you don't like him, then he sort of plays to the type of like, if you hate Michael Cera, what you might think he would act like, you know, if you thought he was a douche, like right down to the fact that he's wearing like this weird tricolored windbreaker. Yeah. He's just annoying and you hate him. Like, he's awful, you know. So like
the scene when he blows the coke in McLovin's face, and that was great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love this movie.
I thought it was hilarious.
Dying.
Yeah.
I would say, if you're on the fence about it, I know that it's on YouTube, but Jay and Seth versus the Apocalypse, which is the short that this was like based.
I've
off
never
of.
watched that.
Like it's it's like 5 or 6 years old, but it's on YouTube if you want to check it out, just to see. From every big movie that these guys now get made, you see where it started. It's cool that they kind of
this script has been going around for a long time.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's cool that they have the weight to do it now on their own. You know what I mean? And like a movie or a little short that's been sitting on YouTube for 6 years, they saw something through, which I think in after seeing this film was
well worth
very
it.
very positive returns in my opinion.
I mean, proof of its quality to me is that if you were to do the non-funny version of it, it would still be a pretty entertaining story.
Yeah.
And it's also hilarious on top of that. So.
And it also has an 80% right now on Rotten Tomatoes, which is absurd.
Yeah,
that is.
No, you're right. It might
for
just
a crazy ass
for a
comedy like this. 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Usually it's later in the summer. Like I'm remembering. There's something about I'm stifling a burp, but I'm also remembering. There's something about Mary was one that came out later in the summer that was a huge hit, and then 40-Year-Old Virgin. These R-rated comedies. Occasionally, they do really well in the summertime.
Absolutely,
yeah. Like it was the
Wedding Crashers was in the summer.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was rated R.
It was Wedding Crashers and
lots of boobs in it.
And 40-Year-Old same summer.
Wow,
which did you like
same
better?
summer? 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Between Wedding Crashers and 40-Year-Old Virgin.
40-Year-Old Virgin.
I've seen 40-Year-Old Virgin more, and I think it might be like a cleaner, more well put together movie. But if I saw Wedding Crashers now, I might laugh at more parts because I haven't seen it that many times. And I remember it was the last time that I really thought Vince Vaughn was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and also Bradley Cooper was funny as the douchebag.
Yeah, I lean a little towards 40-Year-Old myself, but
but I mean,
Wedding
like
Crashers
two
was
great
solid.
comedies.
Yeah,
That's
great
crazy.
comedies.
I mean, I would definitely lean towards 40-Year-Old Virgin just because, like I said, I've seen it more times and it holds up. Like it's a really such a streamlined movie. There's almost nothing really wrong with it
at all.
It might be my favorite of Apatow's movies. In fact, I think it definitely is my favorite of Apatow's movies.
I would agree.
I think that's my favorite too. I feel like he just kind of went bonkers after a while. I like him, but
Well, speaking of Apatow, he's someone who has people playing themselves in his movies quite a bit, even if it's just little cameos.
Yep.
But like, just to rattle a couple off, James Taylor has a pretty funny scene in Funny People, where he gets to sort of, bust on comedians making dick jokes and someone asks him, does he ever get sick of singing the same songs every night? And he says something like, do you ever get sick of always talking about your dick or something like that? So it's a funny one line, basically cameo, but it stood out and it makes you think, oh, James Taylor must be a pretty cool guy to sort of come in and sort of spoof his nice guy image like that. And then also in This Is 40, Graham Parker, another musician, also and plays much more of a character, but talk about the tweaking his image. The whole gag is that he can't sell records and that he doesn't even care. Like that to him, he's at that point, and I think a lot of artists are actually at this point where they make their money touring. Putting out the album is just sort of part of their career, but the label really bears the brunt of that. If the album doesn't sell, it's the label that gets hurt. The act can move to a different label and can keep touring. So in that sense, it's actually a funny cameo, but also a, actually, I don't know. That was one of I like the sort of music industry plot line in This Is 40 probably more than the marriage stuff.
The actual movie.
What are some other actors playing themselves that stand out to you?
Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts in Ocean's
I have
11.
that on my list.
Yeah.
I thought that was so good.
I never saw that coming. And I remember when I first saw the movie, we're talking about Ocean's 12.
Ocean's 12, yeah.
And I thought that was a great.
I always remember that one. That was one of my favorites.
Especially when is it Bruce Willis, right? It ends up like kind of screwing the whole plan up and recognizes her.
Recognizing her and talking
Speaking
to
of Bruce Willis, he's played himself in what was that movie? It was like a Hollywood spoof. What Just Happened?
Was it Who's it? Barry Levinson?
I think Barry Levinson.
Yeah.
Was that the name of that?
I think you're right. I'm not sure.
But he played Bruce Willis. I believe in that movie. He also played Unbilled in The Player.
Oh, right.
There's and it's almost kind of a spoiler if I go into more, but there's a moment towards the end of that film where we see Bruce Willis, and he's in a movie within the movie, but it's definitely supposed to be Bruce Willis, and it's a reference to earlier when someone made a joke about casting Bruce Willis in this film. So yeah, that's that'd be
what just happened?
3 times that he's played himself.
Another one I had was probably one of the more recent ones I had. Was Bill Murray in Zombieland.
Yeah. Had to mention that one, yeah.
Out of my mind.
So good.
In the theater seeing that movie.
Yeah.
And again, amazingly never leaked. I mean, at least me when I went and saw Zombieland, I didn't no idea Bill Murray was in this movie.
I had heard there was a big cameo that no one wanted to spoil.
Okay.
And so I was sort of on the ready for it, but still when it occurred, it was like so great,
Oh God. And he kills it. Like everything in his scene.
Did I hear that they wanted someone else and it fell through and then they got him?
I have no idea. I'm not sure. But I just love how like he's so prepared for it all by acting as a zombie, and that ends up being why he dies. You know what I mean? Like that's just that's how it would happen.
Yeah.
Just a great scene. And another note I had was somebody asked him, I think Abigail Breslin asked him if he has any regrets, and he says Garfield. That movie Garfield.
That movie was awful.
I just love it. This is good stuff.
The celebrity who would cameo as himself was written as a zombified dancing Patrick Swayze.
Oh, okay.
Including references to highlights of Swayze's career. Later versions of the script considered Sylvester Stallone, Joe Pesci, Mark Hamill, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Bacon, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool surprise.
Not a movie, but James Vanderbeek and Don't Trust That Bee in Apartment B, 23B, whatever.
A TV show? Oh, yeah.
He's incredible.
Well, if we dip too much into TV, we have to start talking about Wayne Brady on Chappelle's show.
Yeah, that was great.
We talk about one where it's like image resuscitation. There were a couple others that stood out to me. John Malkovich in Being John Malkovich.
I had that, yeah.
And Charlie Sheen in that as well plays himself. And then, even though I didn't see the movie JCVD, but Jean-Claude Van Damme plays himself in a character who's based on himself in a movie where he's in a hostage situation, and it's kind of like a movie of his, but instead of being
he plays himself like he's basically trying to like get his daughter back, like from a divorce lawsuit hearing, but in the process kind of gets caught up in a real life action movie. You know what I mean? Like, and it actually is a really cool movie.
I wanted to see it.
It's really good. He's actually really good in it.
The one thing I remember hearing about a lot was that there supposedly is a scene where he talks to the camera for an extended period of time, and it's kind of like an autobiographical monologue or something. That sounds really weird and daring and interesting.
It's awesome, though. It really is good. Yeah, you guys should check it out.
Check it out. That seems like a Netflix movie.
I know you're probably going to mention one, so I won't mention it because you alluded to it earlier. I have Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Jay and Silent Bob.
That was so good.
I
forgot about that one.
Yeah, they're like on the Miramax lot, and they're filming Good Will Hunting 2, making fun of Ben Affleck's career and everything, and Gus Van Sant's like counting his cash in the I don't know, just a fucking funny scene.
So who else? I don't really have anybody else.
I was gonna say NPH.
Oh yeah,
Harold Kumar.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna. I didn't want to steal your thunder, John.
Oh no, I don't. I only brought him up initially just to say that might be the big one that is sort of stands out in everyone's memory right now because he's done it so many times.
Yeah, I think in those all the series of those movies when
do we talk about Mark Hamill and another Jay and Silent Bob?
Yeah,
the cock knocker. He was a cock knocker, right?
Yeah,
that's. That movie.
And he's written into that Mark Millar comic Secret Service, which actually Matthew Vaughn is making into a movie. Mark Hamill played. Mark Hamill is written. Service.
I haven't started on that.
The comic's already being made into a movie, and in the story of the comic, there are sci-fi celebrities, geek celebrities that are being abducted, and Mark Hamill actually plays a small role in the first issue of that. And I knowing that Mark Millar is got his hand half in Hollywood and half in comics, it makes sense that they probably already have they probably already have Mark Hamill signed on to play himself in that. So yeah, definitely the theme seems to be it reminds me of actually something I don't like, which is on SNL when a celebrity, when they have someone who does a celebrity impression and eventually that actual celebrity will pop up in a sketch and kind of walk up behind them or whatever. I don't like that when it allows the celebrity to sort of show they're in on the joke and kind of defang the joke, because it's usually a really lame celebrity that deserves to be joked about.
Sure.
But when they do it in movies and it's actually them and it's written, it reminds me of that show Larry Sanders.
Yeah, totally.
Where every week it was just people showing up and being worse than you've ever seen them be. It almost is an easy joke to make now, but it's obviously it still has juice because this movie was just wall to wall that type of joke.
I mean, this is just not a great. Happy Gilmore, Bob Barker had to throw.
Oh, okay.
There.
Oh yeah.
I'll shit all over Happy Madison movies now, but back in the day, I used to like.
That used to be great.
I used to be a fan.
Grown Ups.
Price is Wrong.
Grown Ups.
Bob. Bitch or whatever he says.
Yeah,
I had forgotten that he actually was playing himself in that, Bob Barker.
Yeah,
so good.
Are you gonna see Grown Ups too?
Hell no! I wouldn't even let my friend look at the poster.
The first one looked awful.
Dude, they make so much money though. It's just like I can't say that I fault them for doing. I mean, like I can't say that if I was in their shoes, you could call me a sellout, do whatever you need to. But if I'm making that much money, I'm okay with it.
There's a large population of people that are really into the corny. Like the corny, infectiously corny.
I couldn't agree more.
Stupid comedies.
Safe.
And they make sequels. They make tons of money.
I'll give you an example.
Any of them.
When I realized like how easy it is to manipulate people. The White House Down trailer, when the president is kicking the person with the Jordans on. White House Down. Yeah. White House Now.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't touch my Jordans." That's such a weird thing, like a modern corny joke that will immediately win laughs. Like it's just it's a stupid thing. Like it's like, oh, black people love their shoes. Old black ladies will laugh at this, guaranteed. And guess who laughed? Old black ladies in the theater, guaranteed. It's like a formula that you get together for corniness that always works.
Yeah.
So.
All of those guys in Grown Ups at different times I have laughed at. So It's strange that as they're all like at their most successful level, I have almost no interest in any of them.
Maybe they should have just been playing themselves in this. Maybe it would have worked better.
I like Paul Rudd in the movie too. The random Paul Rudd.
Yeah, that was such a funny frantic. Like from the moment he gets there, shit's gotten bad. And it's funny. We don't want to just. I mean, I guess if theoretically, if you've listened this far, you've seen the movie, or you don't want to see it. But even if you've listened this far, and it sounds like we spoiled everything, I don't know that we actually spoiled everything. We didn't actually talk about.
We left the one big cameo out, and let's just stick with it. At this point, we're at the end. Might as well. Wait, this is the end.
Oh,
I'm on fire tonight. No one is giving me any acknowledgement. I'm a little upset about this.
I would say there's two big cameos because there's one that is the one you're talking about, and then the one at the very end will surprise some people.
Oh, dude, I almost forgot that. I apologize in advance.
And I thought to myself,
I was giddy during that.
Well, I was going to say, I know that
happens
to be your jam.
That is my jam.
It's not my jam,
That
but
was-
I will say I felt your joy coursing through the stadium seating, and I saw you kind of hop up and down or something. I actually did feel. I felt like I'm happy for Steve. You know,
The fact that they chose that as that piece in that movie, that
Yeah.
Rogen, whoever choice that was, well played, sirs.
It was.
Well
It
played.
was.
music supervisor, whoever you are.
You guys are good. You guys are good. But yeah, this is the end. Go see it. I think it's great. I thought it was super funny. Like I said, one of, if not the best comedy I've seen in the last year, not just in 2013, in the last year from the day I saw This Is the End.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the better comedies I've seen. And I will absolutely be seeing it again, and we'll watch it again when I have a copy of it myself.
Same.
And I'm sure that we'll still joke about it in the future. So it's one of those, I think it has like a little bit of, it's going to have like a staying power kind of comedy. I think it's going to be something that people are going to start referencing, quoting. You know, I think it's going to be one of those movies, and it's pretty cool because I don't know there's been a lot of them recently, but definitely I'd say whatever our scale is. What is it, John? Is it?
This is. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, with all
There's go ahead. There's wait for it, and then there's hold up.
yeah. So I say go ahead.
Go ahead, see it immediately.
With a silent. That's not a silent J. You just
Is that one of Jermaine Jackson's sons' names?
Immediately. But that weird curly hair that he has. It's so weird. What did he put in his hair for that shit? It makes me uncomfortable.
I didn't come prepared with this answer. I didn't do my Jackson family
That one
hair
must
product.
not be on Google either.
Yeah, I legitimately want to know. I don't know anybody else's hair that looks like his.
All right, guys, we got to shut this one down. Ronald's got to hit the internet and find out about the hair products that the Jackson.
This is a very
use.
important
Yeah.
question.
It's very important.
Episode 74 in the books.
This is the end.
This is it. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
You stole my last joke, you bitch. As always, thanks for listening. You've made our day.
Bye.